Hi YouTubers, hi subscribers, how are you? I'm down at Shamrock Keys. It's just a short walk from mine. It's a very hot day. It is the 16th of June 2020. I hope you're well. I hope you're keeping well. As you may have seen from the title of this vlog, it's from I can't remember the artist who sang the song, but it's from a title. It's the chorus of a radical left-wing revolutionary song from the 60s, pop song from the 60s. What children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going. Stop children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. And I thought I would use it as the title to this vlog. As you know, I try to do my vlogs as LGBT plus stories that affect the UK population, but every now and again I will do something if the moment is important, and I believe right now the moment is important. After the killing of George Floyd by a cop in Minnesota, it certainly has tipped the balance and changed everything. There are protests going on to some large extent all over the world, but mainly in America. And it's almost like people have taken to the streets in protest at police brutality towards black people in America. But they're also out there saying something is wrong. Our society is not gelling. America is not the shining beacon on a hill that others look to for guidance. It never has been, not throughout its history, not really if you look at it. If you take a percentage, if you take 100% of the time America has existed since 1776, America has been at war for 97% of its existence. Only about 3% of America's existence has it been at peace. It is a warlike nation, it is a revengeful nation, and as Jamal Thomas says in his vlogs on his channel, the Progressive Soapbox, everything in America is maximum justice. You slightest infraction, maximum justice. And because America is the way it is, like all around the world, racism plays a large part in that policing policy by predominantly white cops. It seems to me that the trickle of rebellion is seeping through the American population and the American psyche. This killing of George Floyd has galvanized the public and the youth to come out onto the streets, demand their rights, demand accountability, demand their politicians listen to them and hear them. A lot of demands. The question is America's establishment listening? And from the look at it, I think not. This is a turning point in America. A lot of people think these protests will wane away and we will go on to other subjects until something else galvanizes the American population to rebel against its paymasters. Well, its masters, it's not really its paymasters. America is not a country like Britain that pretends to look after its population. America, as a political institution, doesn't care about its population. America is on the brink. Bernie Sanders triggered something in America. He started a conversation in America about the nice things that Americans have. Universal health care. Simple thing like universal health care. The vast majority of the industrialized world has universal health care. America doesn't. It's tied to your job. You can't strike, you can't go against your employer, lose your health care, lose your job. Bernie Sanders started something, a debate, that has rippled into the American consciousness. It's not really rippled into the older generation because the older generation in America on the large part is content with the status quo. But the youth, the millennials, Gen Z, people like that, they're not. They want to have a better country than they currently have. They want to have a society that cares about them and looks after them and wants the best for them. And America isn't like that. America is pure capitalism in the extreme. And it is horrific. Donald Trump just is the living embodiment of that institution. He doesn't lie to you. He tells you to your face, I don't care about you. He tells you to your face, I'm a racist. He tells you to your face, I have fascist tendencies. And what are you going to replace him with? A senile old man who doesn't know where he is half the time and voted to get rid of Social Security and imprison as many African Americans as he possibly could, with no thought as to why they found themselves in the predicaments that they found themselves in. It's like the Roman Empire. A nation can be decided upon by its leaders to show that it is in decline. And even if Biden does win the presidential election, he will symbolise the decline of the American nation a little bit more so than Trump has. The election's in the air. It can go either way. Biden is in the lead, but Trump could pull it out the bag. He's got a solid base that he can rely on. But Biden has going for him the fact that so many people just want Trump out. They've had enough of Trump. This conversation that Bernie started has rippled through America. And when he dropped out of the race, a lot of people felt lost and didn't know where to turn and felt that was it. They had no chance. But the killing of George Floyd and the mass movement on the streets of America that we see on our TV screens, on YouTube, in newspapers around the world, is phenomenal. And I think it's more than just George Floyd's killing. George Floyd is the trigger, but there is more demands being made from these people on the streets than just justice for George Floyd. The seeds of revolution are there. An American summer, perhaps, hot weather, constant demonstrations. And why is these demonstrations galvanised so much? Because for a week after they first started, all you saw on your TV screens was repressive, police action against them. Beatings, unnecessarily. Draconian measures to crack down on peaceful protesters. And you saw it all in this absurd image of New York City police cars running over protesters on I believe it was Fifth Avenue, running over protesters. The last time I saw security forces running over protesters during an uprising protest was in Warsaw during the Solidarity uprisings in the early 80s, when the communist government cracked down and declared martial law, and they used their riot trucks to run over the dockers who were protesting in picket lines. That's what repressive regimes do. It's not what democracy is supposed to do, if you could call America a democracy. The fact that millions of people have been purged from the voter rolls because of their ethnic diversity, that prisoners are arrested, convicted, and then have the vote taken off them. That most people in America of the age of vote don't actually vote. This is a country that is in decline, and America is reaching a breaking point. Something is going to happen in America. It's either going to be a revolution or it's going to descend into anarchy and civil war. There are so many factions vying for influence in America as well, from the far right through to the progressive left, all the way down to people who just want to get by in life, just want what everybody else has in the industrialised world. A welfare state, universal health care, a safety net. America has none of these things. You are very much left on your own. I'd hate to be American. America is not the shining beacon on a hill. It never has been, and if it continues the way it is at the moment, it never will be. It is not the nation to look up to in times of desperation. It is one to run away from. And if you want to take a bastardized version of a democracy, look at America. That's how a democracy can fail. Something is happening now, and it is changing. Now, I could go on about the protests in this country with the falling of Edward Colston, the slave owner's statue, and other little things like that. But we have our own issues with race in this country, and we have a problem that isn't as bad as it is in America. But it's still a problem. But something is happening in America that's not really happening here. There are people taking to the streets to protest, but they're not just doing it for justice for Lord George Floyd. They're also doing it because they sense something is wrong. They sense their country is not as great as they are told it is. They sense that their society, the nation which they are brought up into, can be better than the sum of its parts. And they want better for it. But the powers that be don't. They want to continue to oppress the American population, give them bugger all, and make them pay. Pay. But I think this is beginning to change in America now. I have a feeling something is about to give, and we're about to see a summer of something different. And George Floyd's death has paved the way for a resurgence of rebellion. If you take the pandemic of 1918, Vietnam, and the social unrest of the 60s and early 70s, and wrap them all together, you have what's going on in America right now, all at once. The question is, will it inevitably fizzle out? Or will it become something? Or will you just elect Biden because he's not Trump and the decline of America continues until, I don't know. It's hard to tell what would happen to America. It's such a big country and it seems to have been there for so long. We've been here longer, but America has stamped its authority on the Western world, on the world. It's an imperial power that is very much in ascendance. However, it's beginning to crumble from the inside. And I wonder if these protests in America are the start of something. I hope they are. I hope the birthplace of my partner's nation will come to its senses and embrace it and live out its creed written on the Statue of Liberty. Bring me your huddled masses yearning to be free. I lift my lamp, the golden dawn. Maybe they can live out the creed that's written on the Statue of Liberty rather than the rubbish that the Democrats and the Republicans, between the two of them, have screwed over America and its population good and proper. Maybe this is the start of something. I hope it is. I pray it just doesn't fizzle out. Okay, YouTubers, I'll see you next time.